Hey guys, welcome to Fraction Basics. Made a quick little video because you're going to watch this before you come to me today. So by watching the video, you'll have a little bit of background knowledge, which you may already have. So this, for some of you, it might be a bit of a review, but it'll be good to have this video, and it will be linked in the agenda so you can view it anytime you need a refresher. So let's get into this. We're going to start talking about fractions today. You may also hear the term equal shares. So if we look at the fraction 1/3, there's a couple words I want to make sure you're familiar with. In a fraction, there's two numbers. There's a top number and a bottom number, which you can call them generically the top or the bottom. But the top number is really called the numerator. Okay, numerator. And the bottom number is called the denominator. Those words are going to be important as we move further into fractions because we're going to be looking at specific patterns with numerators and denominators, so make sure you get yourself familiar with the two words. We also talk about this idea of equal shares. That means if you're looking at a fraction, and in this case we're going to look at 1/3, we take a whole, whatever the whole might be. It could be money, it could be a pizza, it could be a chocolate bar, it can be a piece of ribbon. Whatever the whole is, all right, we'll talk about the whole. Whatever the whole is, we're only talking about 1/3 of the whole thing. So in this case, I'm going to draw 1/3 as a fraction bar. And I'd recommend when you're making drawings today in the lesson, use fraction bars. It's a really easy way to represent the whole. In this case, you can see it's a rectangle. And to represent specific fractions. So when you look at a fraction, the denominator number down here of a 3, that tells you how many equal pieces you need in your whole, all right, or equal shares. So if my whole is this rectangle, I need to have 3 equal pieces. All right, there would be my 3 equal pieces. Here's piece 1, here's piece 2, and here's piece 3. Now you notice all the pieces are the same size. So if I had a fraction bar maybe that looked like this, and I wanted to make equal shares, if I split it like this, would those be equal shares? Are all 3 pieces, piece 1, piece 2, and piece 3, are those all the same size or equal shares? In that case, they are not, so please be careful of that. We're talking about equal shares, and we're talking about 1/3. So down here in my fraction bar, again, you can see I have it split already into 3 equal pieces. That's what my denominator tells me again. Denominator is 3, so I need 3 equal pieces. Piece 1, 2, and 3. My numerator, top number up here, that tells me how many pieces of the whole I'm talking about. So in this case, it's 1/3, which means I'm only going to fill in one of these pieces. Right? That's 1/3. So when we're looking at fractions, keep in mind there's a numerator, top number, denominator, the bottom number, and both of those numbers tell us key information. Okay, let's look at another one. This time let's look at the fraction 2/4. Again, I have a numerator of 2, a denominator of 4, and I'm going to say this time that my whole, would be a chocolate bar. So let's look at a chocolate bar represented as a fraction bar. And in this, how many equal pieces do I need to split it into? I'll give you a second to think about that before I draw it in the picture. Okay, hopefully you said 4, right? My denominator. That tells you how many equal pieces I need to split it into. So easy way to split it into fourths is first split it into 2 equal pieces, and then split each of those pieces into 2 equal pieces or halves. Now I have my 4 equal pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4 equal pieces. My numerator in this case is going to tell me how many of those pieces I need to fill in. And again, this is pretty easy now. There's my numerator of 2, so I'd fill in 1 out of the 4 and 2 out of the 4. Right? So there's my fraction bar showing 2/4. You might also realize in that fraction bar that half of it is filled in. Right? Half of the entire bar is filled in. So if you look at this piece that's filled in, that is half of the entire bar, because I would have 2 equal pieces there. Right? I'd have the red piece, and I would have the green piece. So in this case, I have a denominator of a 2, and it's showing me that I have 2 equal pieces, piece 1 and piece 2, and I have a numerator of a 1, and that's telling me that one of those pieces is filled in this case the red one. And when you see fractions like this, 2/4 and 1/2, those fractions are called equivalent. Now you may notice in the word equivalent, it almost sounds like equal, because 2/4 is equal to 1/2 if you're talking about the same whole. Now I'm going to give you a problem to work out yourself, see if you can figure this one out. Okay. Let's start with a fraction of 3/5. Okay. What I want you to do is represent 3/5 as a fraction bar and fill in the correct pieces. Now pause the video now. You could work yours out on scrap paper, and then you could hit play again and I'll show you what the answer would look like. So go ahead and pause the video. Okay, hopefully you had a chance to work it out. I'm going to show you what 3/5 would look like. Again, I'm going to use a fraction bar, but you could draw a circle. Okay? For me, I tend to find bars are a little bit easier. My denominator is a 5. That tells me I need 5 equal pieces. There's 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces, 4 pieces, and 5 pieces. Notice I didn't draw 5 lines, I drew 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And my numerator up here of 3 tells me that I need to fill in 3 of them. There's 1, 2, and 3 pieces. So there's the fraction that's shown as 3/5. See you guys in a bit.